Welcome to season 3 of the Dickie and Donny show presented by Business on Purpose. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dickie, here with Donny. And as you know, we're here to give you the charge to your rechargeable batteries. We're here to juice you up.
We're the charger. You're saying we are the charger for someone's
We are
rechargeable battery.
the instigators, the fire
Yes.
starters, the chargers
And
to ignite
so good.
clarity into your
And what
business.
and what we would ask now that it's season 3, we would ask that you're the kind of person that doesn't plug their battery in only when you need it. No, we want you to be with us all the time. Stay charged. Stay charged. You don't got to get charged. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So just leave your
that's
battery
right.
in. We might dole your battery out over time. We probably should advertise we will do that.
I don't think
But
so. I don't
that's
think that's
okay.
possible.
We need you have Dickie and Donny, have it pulled up on your computer and then set your settings to where it just automatically goes to the next one. I'm talking all night. Turn the volume all the way off, but just set it all night. We don't get any positivity from more views, none of that. So just you're going to want to keep your battery recharged, I
That's
think.
right. And I'd like to
So,
welcome everybody to today's episode of Bad Decisions Anonymous.
ooh,
That was our
BDA.
BDA. That was ChatGPT's suggestion for how to attract people to a podcast. Bad Decisions Anonymous. There
Ooh,
you
that's
go.
good. And we're going to do one of these a month. You're going to get one Bad Decisions Anonymous episode each month. And today we're really setting the scene because, Dickie, we're talking about, I think, as a whole, how to stop making bad decisions. So,
How to stop
um,
making bad decisions. I've
and
made
while a
at
few,
least one or two bad decisions in my life. None of them have bankrupted me to the point of death, but I probably haven't been that far off. Have you made any bad decisions,
means you haven't
Johnny?
run hard enough.
Well,
Have I
maybe
made a
not.
bad
Maybe I'm not
decision?
running hot
Ooh, have
enough.
I made a bad decision that's even, am I able to talk about it on this podcast?
I mean,
That
you're
would be
you're
the
free to
question. I
talk
have
about whatever
made,
you want.
I've made two or three today. So just
Okay.
no, I think one, we talk about this a lot here in Bluffton. We call it biscuit poison. And I know it's going to seem like it's
Okay.
out of left field, but one of
Yeah, it
those
does.
early mornings, you're driving to work, driving anywhere. And around here, we have a gas station that kind of home prepares their food. It's not like, oh, you just grab a
Parker's.
pre-packaged, yeah, it's called Parker's. And they
Mhm.
have these
Shout
biscuit
out. Sponsored by
sandwiches,
Parker's.
hashtag sponsored Parker's or Speedway, my home gas
Mm,
station. I would
okay.
love for
Nice.
Speedway to sponsor us, but Parker's will do for now. But they have these sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits, and they're good enough to continue going back to, but the way they make you feel
Yes.
afterwards, but yet you know you're going to feel that bad, and yet you still like have the craving and you still stop and get one. And we call that biscuit poison. And that's so I have not done that in 19 days. And I do not track that because
Congrats,
of the
brother.
beginning of the year. I do that because my daughter was born and I just haven't had biscuit poison since she was born. I'm not trying to stop. I will do it again. I'm well aware of that. But yeah, that's one bad decision I think I've run to time and time again would be the biscuit poison.
So your daughter was born 19 days ago. I suppose
17.
we
We
haven't
haven't.
recorded since. So congratulations. I know I've said that in
Thank
person,
you.
but
Thank you.
congratulations on another one through the loins. That's a great outcome.
Another, they were not through my loins. Well, they
Well, you
started
know what I
there.
mean.
Well,
Yes.
all right.
Thy
Yeah, we
loins have
probably,
increased. I don't even
yes.
know what that means. So,
Thy loins
when
have
I was,
increased. I
yeah,
think it's when you
when I
gain
was,
some weight and your
that's
loins
true.
increase.
That's true. When I was in Bluffton this weekend, was happy to be in the mothership. My
Awesome.
greatest disappointment this weekend was that the Squat and Gobble was closed on Sunday morning, and my two of my youngest kids were with me, and I wanted them to experience the
The cinnamon
cinnamon bun
roll
poisoning that would have come and the grits bowl from Squat and Gobble. But we had a lovely breakfast at the Joyner House, and that was very nice.
on Sunday breakfast.
Sunday breakfast, yeah.
Did they do their like what they always do on Sundays for breakfast, or did they just like make it for y'all because y'all were in town?
They usually do that after church. They did
Yes,
it pre-church. Yeah,
that's
so
what.
we
Okay,
had
that's what I'm
pancakes,
thinking.
bacon, sausage, fruit, the whole eggs, cheesy eggs, the whole nine. It was just loaded.
Yeah, that's great. It was fun seeing you Saturday. You know, we're work friends, and I think we are life friends. Like I think we count as that because I do think we're both friends. But it's fun to see you in like my natural habitat that's not work
Yes,
related. You know, it's
that's
just
nice.
fun. So I'm
Those
excited for you guys
45
to
minutes were
move.
awesome. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Like, it's not, what do you got, like a
I
newborn or something?
I was gonna say I wouldn't argue that it's I'm so busy I only had 45 minutes to a lot. It's that I want to stay married, so I only had 45 minutes to a lot for
Check.
that. So no, we
Two.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm dad of three, girl dad. You know what it's like, two boys and a girl, so you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the best. She's never made a mistake and may never. She will never be sponsored by Bad Decisions Anonymous because she's going to be close to perfect because she's a girl and she's my daughter. So,
You will not
um,
have those daddy issues. Well, hey, let's talk about making bad decisions in a business owner sense, in the sense of growing a business, working on a team.
that's
Um,
good.
how do we stop making bad decisions? And the onus of this podcast, again, we are appropriately unprepared. Had a client come to me on Thursday last week and say, "Hey, we write all these processes, we build all this systems and tools, and we've got clarity around the function of our business. How do we actually keep people accountable or aligned to it? And how do we keep
Mm,
people doing the work that they say we're going to do?" And I said, "Well, hey, that's an excellent question. Here's our operating system." And I pointed him back to that as, every piece of our operating system is a small support anchor tie-in so that it all
yeah.
works together.
Yeah, they do. It really does go together. I've had people reach out to me and are like, "Hey, we really love coaching, and we have the four P's. This won't. You've heard this before if you've been with us for any amount of time. Purpose, people, process, and profit. Sorry, this is the right order because you start with vision. So, and we'll go over that a little. But I've had people be like, "Hey, I actually feel like we're not in total chaos, but I really want your people. Can you just coach me on people?" And you're like, I could like we could walk through org chart, job roles, scorecards. I could walk you through all this stuff, but man, it's going to be incomplete. It's not even going to be a black and white picture, let alone one without color. Like there's going to be pieces that are just missing because they all really speak to each other. And I think when you think about how do we set up a business that could potentially run without the owner, it's going to have to be one that the system itself provides the stability that no, people aren't going to be making bad decisions. They're not able to if following the system. I have, Dickie, I'm sure you've run into this. I've had a ton of like early on business owners that I meet with that's what they're worried about. They're like, man, I got people that I have to pay their paycheck. I just don't want to make the wrong decision. I just don't want to, like, it almost paralyzes them to a sense of not
Totally.
knowing what to do. So I relate to, or I can understand the question of your client last Thursday for sure. But yeah,
And
they all
I've
feed
made,
into each other.
yeah. And when I was in leadership and running an organization, I made plenty of bad decisions on hiring, and they definitely cost you. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember one of my bad hires probably cost me 100 grand in onboarding, training, moving expenses, getting it up and running, not working a year of work. It was painful. And so
Hmm.
then the organization is set back not only from momentum, but it's time, it's energy, it's costs, momentum, it's all
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the
yeah.
above. So super
Yeah.
challenging.
So, okay, well, Dickie, so you had that question. You have our operating system pulled up. If you're on Spotify, our operating system is based on the four P's that we coach on: purpose, people, process, and profit. Underneath each vertical are the tools that we walk through within the base camp of our product. These are kind of the standard. You need these tools to run a business. It's all of these things come together. So that's what we're looking at. Dickie, as you walk through this with your client, and for those listening that want to establish the structure of a business where they can equip their team. Walk us through this. What did you walk your guy through? Walk us through. What did you walk us? What would you have us do?
Yeah. So I think when I look at the questions like that are so good, right? But they're so complex because there's so many variables that can affect accountability to a process. And so I
Right.
said, well, number one, if you don't have a process, I can't hold someone accountable to executing the process. So first of all, we write the process. We've done that. Number two, when I look at people, do I have a job role that is explicitly, clearly stated? This role, this person is responsible for executing this task or accountable for how this would go. If they don't have it written down, how can I recruit someone to do it? How can I train someone to do it? And how can I assess if they're actually doing it good at all? Recruit, train,
Mm,
assess. So again, that's job role. So there's process, inner process, job roles and people. And then as always, we love some unique core values. If there's not an explicit way to direct people, these are filters for our core values. This is our mission, our ultimate filter. This is our vision, the direction of our company. Does this fit the 3-year vision of where our company is going to be? Yes or no? So I think there are filters for us to make those decisions, and they're all found in multiple places. So it's almost like fail safes. Like, should the process catch it? Yeah. Should the job role catch it? Yeah. Should it align with the core value? Absolutely. Does it advance the mission? Does it get you to your vision? Like, all those questions
mm,
are worthwhile for asking, but they all fit together.
yeah. And that like The question of your client, which was, how do I keep my people from, that insinuates that he has people, which means there has been hiring, there has been onboarding. So you think of the ways you can even make efficient or expedite some of that is how well are you leveraging your hiring and onboarding to be able to say, here's our meeting structures and here's why. We have this meeting set
Mhm.
up this way to catch this process at this time. And then,
Mhm.
we will review in your one-on-one check-ins, part of the big five, we'll review these. Well, I don't know what you just did. That was
What do you
funky.
think? I couldn't see it all. It was bugging me that I
Can
couldn't
you
see it
bump it
all
up?
in
Can you
one
bump it
shot.
up
There we
one?
go.
That's a little better.
There we go. There we go.
Then
There.
you need one more column to the right of people.
So let's see if I can do this on the fly. Okay, there's
Yeah,
a
you're gonna
problem.
have to row
Okay.
five. You're gonna
I
have
just
to
I just needed to see this all together. Thanks for allowing me that courtesy there, Donnie.
I don't know if I did allow it because I didn't care for it because you didn't
No,
do
you
it
you don't allow
exceptionally
anything, but
well.
that's fine.
But I'm very tolerant. I was told by my counselor today you're too tolerant. So,
So we've gone back to childhood trauma. Good to hear. All right,
oh,
so
there's a lot there. You talk about me. My daughter will have daddy
my
issues.
daddy,
My daddy. Will
talk
you
to
be my
me
dad?
about what do you see as the hot button decisions that your business owners are needing to make or struggling to make, and how they're either not making those decisions well, or how you would advise them directly if you had a chance to say, "Hey, let me shake you a little bit. You need to hear this." Oh, I
It's a really
stumped
good
you.
question.
I stumped you.
I'm trying to get better at answering in a breathful pattern rather than just talking through because then everybody has to hear my. I usually lose people when I start talking through my mindset, and I don't
Okay.
want to
All
do
right.
that. So while I do that, you're gonna have to unmerge row four or five to be able to do what you're
One.
trying to do.
This one. Thank you. I couldn't
You're
figure out where
welcome.
it was.
Right
All
there.
right, here we go. Dude, last
And
time. If this
then
doesn't work, I'm giving up.
it
Oh my goodness.
very bottom will say on purpose group 2016, I bet. Or that very bottom line is probably all together, the blue one. The one below it, is there not?
No, no. We're giving up. It's not
Okay.
worth this. Our people's time is more valuable than my formatting of this operating system.
That's probably true. I think so much of it would be there, probably two different camps. There's the people that think they have it all going smoothly, so they skip steps. They skip the importance of the job roles because they're like, well, I'm
Mm,
just a good leader. These people get it. They just get it. I just have the right people. I don't have to give them clarity because they do have people that are really good. So there's
mm,
that side of it. And in that side, you almost want to say, hey, let's slow down and let's then audit how together we are from your team's point of view. And that usually brings some light. But then there's the opposite, which I think right now I feel like I'm getting way more of from my clients of, man, I don't think I have like, I'm not a good leader. They're like, you're a great leader. They're like, no, I'm not a good leader. I don't know what to do. And that fear is almost causing a lack of action, which keeps them from doing job roles because they're like, well, what if they don't like it? Like, what if they don't like it? It keeps them from hitting on their mission and values because they're like, well, I don't even know if I'm bought in. It keeps them from finishing their master process roadmap because they're like, well, this may not be the best way. And it almost keeps them from acting in a way. They don't do team meetings because they're like, I'm just bad at meetings, so it's not worth it. And there's kind of that other side where it's not like, oh, we do plenty of meetings. And you're like, yeah, but what's the structure? Yeah, they're great. You're like, yeah, they're way too
yeah.
many and they're not that good. First, the opposite. I don't feel like I want to slow my team down. And I think a lot of that comes with the fear of, well, if I implement all this stuff and it doesn't go well, then what? They'll see me for who I really feel like I am. So I don't know if that answers your question there, Dickie, but
So your first answer was we don't need it. We're good enough on job roles. Your second answer was ambiguity, lack of conviction, inability for them to move forward.
yeah, and it's not, and the lack of conviction isn't out of a lack of care. It's out of a lack of confidence to where they're like, I don't know if a conviction would be worthwhile, almost in a way. But job roles comes up because I think that plays on both sides because very few people have defined job roles. So we get to experience what lack of job roles in both contexts looks like, and both have their pushback for not completing them. But both acknowledge, well, it'd be great to have, but one's like, but we don't really need them. And one's like, it'd be great to have. I don't know if I have what it takes to create all that because I haven't led well enough prior to now. So everybody's just doing a mixed bag. And so do I have them write their own job roles? So job roles seem to
Mm,
stick out, but it's mostly that like when you ask that question, Dickie, it's even hard for me to nail down any of these specific tools that you're showing on the screen because they're all so encompassing. Because being a business owner really
yeah,
does
totally.
incorporate all of it. So, but
Most of our entrepreneurs and business owners are high functioning, very thoughtful. smart individuals, right?
Yeah,
And
very.
I was reading the other day, and I wasn't reading, I was watching TikTok, but I tell people I was reading this the other day because it makes me sound more educated. Because I'm like, hey, I saw this on TikTok. They're like, yeah, okay, you quack.
That's so
Um,
good.
I was reading the other day that most people have to answer the question of how. So if they get an idea or they get a direction that we're going to move forward with building sheds, the struggle is that they get stuck on, well, how do we do that? How do we deliver? How do we find the people? How? Instead of just moving forward on a simple action that would get you
Mm,
further, because
yeah,
most business owners have never been with, we've never done this many houses. I've never had a team of five. You've never been in that place. So you actually don't know how. You're
right.
thinking and ruminating and getting stuck in, okay, I'm going to get stuck in this pattern of thinking instead of just moving forward and I mean, maybe willingly making a bad decision, knowing at least it's moving us forward. Even if you don't know it's bad yet, you're like, hey, I know we need to move forward. We're going to try to MVP this on X and keep on moving.
Right. And I think there's so much of this is the mindset of the owner. And I think actually a lot of what we coach, we do have so many great tools and we're able to speak into so many great things. I feel like a lot of our coaching, if you were to nail it down, would be really the mindset of the owner and just like, hey, how are we
Mm,
approaching this? Do you desire clarity for your team? Absolutely. Okay, then why haven't you done this? Well, we got all this work going on. You're like, okay, so your mindset is that continuing to work is actually better than slowing things down to give clarity and but there's always a give and take. It's never just a 0 or 100. It's always the spectrum of where they fall. But it's so much of our coaching. And I heard one guy put it this way, and I really liked it. He's like, man, if I don't have clarity for my team, I don't have job roles, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, and yet I'm asking them to be so regimented and so convicted that I'm basically
mm,
asking them to play chess for me, where it's like, hey, but I've given you the pieces, I've given you the rules, but I don't have a ton of clarity. So for those people trying to play chess, their pieces change and the board changes and they don't know what they're doing. And in reality, what they want is they want their people to be artists where they're not so regimented, but they have the freedom to create and they have the freedom to play a little bit, but within the confines. So there's this like internal battle of would I love for my people to just play chess all day long if I taught them to be perfect at it? And you're like, well, yeah, you would play chess. You're like, so many of our owners don't actually want their people to play chess. They want their people to improve people's lives. And we do it by building homes. So I got to build a home in a great way, but the goal is not the home. The goal is the life. And the life is touched when we're able to be artistic. Like there's almost that balance. I don't know if I'm communicating that well, but so much of it rides around like, well, all the things that keep you from making bad decisions are the same things that keep your people able to be nimble and to move and to pivot. And so much of it starts with all of it starts with is the owner willing to do it or not. And I have never
yeah, I
been the
love that.
owner of a business that has people and their families underneath it. I will never know that weight. At least of now, I don't know that weight, but I can presume from everything I've seen, that's a heavy weight to carry, a heavy weight to carry.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, you probably carry this for your clients. You think about them on the weekends or nights, or
Oh yeah. Oh
you're
yeah.
consumed with, man, how do I help them more? How do I, okay, they're struggling with this process or this finance thing. How do I, you wear that probably a good bit as a coach. You probably know that feeling, but yeah, as the owner, you really there's a weight to ownership that until you've experienced it and, it's run your mind ragged. When you're like, I'm not even working right now. Why can't I just watch this soccer game without thinking about, you know, all these to-dos or events?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe let's do this. Let's talk through our four P's, our purpose, people, process, profit. Those are the pain points of the business, but those also, I guess would be your superpowers to make decisions.
Mm.
If you have these well clarified, these will enable you to make the good decisions in the moment. So maybe talk about purpose. How do our purpose tools align people and help them to make better decisions?
Yeah, they're the biggest. When you say align, I feel like these are the biggest alignment pieces. Your vision,
Mm,
where are we going? Like, say we're at $10 million this year and 80% of it is residential, 20% is commercial. And the vision says, I want to be at 15 million with 50% residential, 15 commercial. Well, that vision means something at some point is going to have to change. So it aligns us. When we stop taking residential to take more commercial, We're not wondering, is it because the residential market's down? Or are we all going to lose our jobs? Those are real thoughts by real employees when their owner makes a shift because they have an uncommunicated
Totally.
vision. So what's the vision, the mission of why do we do what we do? What's the fuel that gets us closer to the 15 million with 50% commercial, 15, like what's the fuel? Is it improving people's lives? That's one of my guys. That's why I keep using it. Well, if that's the mission, that's the alignment. So we're in this conversation and we're diving in and we're all frustrated because we can't find an answer. At the end of the day, are we improving someone's life? Yes or no?
Mm,
The values are the guardrails. We say this all the time. They're the guardrails that keep us on the track towards our vision. So the mission's the fuel, the vision's the destination, and the values is the guardrails of like, at what point do I start creeping too far away? And you're like, well, you wanted 50% residential, 15% commercial, and now you're trying to sell 5 million a year in cleaning supplies. Nothing wrong with selling cleaning supplies. That is
totally.
not your vision. This is not your core value. You got
Mhm.
off the rail a little bit. So I think all of those, the anchor is a tool that holds all that together. The handbook is, as the tools is up here is the anchor. We have vision, mission, values, anchor, and handbook. I think the anchor holds all of these pieces together, right? I think we've done a coaching on that or a tutorial on that before.
Mhm.
The handbook is kind of the written version for employees and
Yeah.
leverage. But that, do you have anything to add? I mean, the purpose wise, that's, I think
Yeah,
there's so much
I
alignment
led a
there.
strategic planning masterclass on Friday. Probably should have led with that. Probably have a better conversation around what's like, what do we want to talk about? Appropriately unprepared. And there was a woman on there that was an architect and did facades, elevations, front of
Sure.
exterior buildings, so either commercial, residential. And I said, your business is a perfect example of what our vision is. What is it, brick or is it stone? How high is it? What does it look? Here's the finished product of what we want to see in 3 years. That's our vision. And so, is this decision going to get me closer to that elevation, beautiful picture on the front of the blueprint or not? Does it accomplish our mission? Are we helping people? And then
Mm.
values, do we keep our integrity in the process? To me, that's most people's values are, people over profit or relationships first. Well, that's going to cost you money. If you're committed to building
Oh
people's
yeah.
lives, it's going to cost you money, but
Oh
you're
yeah.
okay with that because you've stated this is more important to me in my filter than money. Now, if you are a purely profitably focused business, if the bottom line is most important, then that may not be your value. So you have to address, you'll make decisions based on money, probably easier than others. But
Yeah.
for us, money is one part of all of the decisions you need to make to have a sustainable business.
Right. Love it.
So that's great. So that's keeping the purpose centered. I love that.
Yep.
Now, people is, I think, one of the most challenging decisions. Do I let this person go? Do I hire this other person? Do I move their job? Do I, you know, because people are so complex in a beautiful way, they can play multiple roles in your company. And so I've seen companies move, people say, okay, this person is a high eye on the disc test. And so they're very people driven. Well, they're in a role that requires a lot of C, a lot of completeness, a lot of checklists, a lot of 100%, and they're getting it out 80%. And when the owners are
Mm.
like, listen, yes, this is not working. Now, they've found ways to pivot and say, okay, let's get you more people facing in a different area that's going to help the business, but where you're at now is not helping. So I think having an org chart, having a clear job role, some sort of scorecard or metric on which you're recruiting, training, and assessing people, ideal weekly schedules, setting that into the week that they can be accountable to, and then obviously our big five feedback, which is our meeting
Mhm.
structure, allowing teams to efficiently do work together with clarity. So I think all of that fits together. And then hiring becoming this linchpin, our 7-step hiring process. I have had so many people at the end of last year. I said, hey, what was the best thing we worked on this year? And they said, hiring process. I had one guy tell me, he said, hey, we decided not to hire a guy. And he commented on how great the hiring process is that we built, even though we ended up not moving forward. And I
Yeah,
was like,
that's powerful.
that's
That's
so
awesome.
cool. So
I
all of the
think,
hiring process allows these purpose filters to get us pushed through in a people sense.
man, we hear this a lot. It's either very rarely do we hear, I got a purpose problem. At times, people are like, I have no direction. Very rarely do we hear, I have a process problem. At times, you'll hear variations of it, but primarily, there's the two problems that we hear of. I got money problems or I got people problems. And I think that goes via studies from every business always. It's been those two types of problems. I'm looking at this list right now. And you said one of the hardest decisions to make, and I've come across this with my owners too, is do we fire somebody? Do we hire someone? Because pulling the trigger on both ends seems heavy. On both sides seems heavy.
Mm.
But when we look at profit, right? Let's say I get a list of all the expenses, your profit and loss statement. And I'm looking and I'm like, hey, you made $1 million last year, yada, yada, yada. You spent 175,000 on marketing. You like it jumps out because nothing else is above 50. And that one's, and you look at it and it'd be like, okay, well, what do we need to do with this? Marketing. Well, what would we do? We go back to the marketing results and we'd say, how much did we put in? How much did we get from it? We'd have aspects and we'd have the ability to go back and look at all the details to make an informed decision. It's not as hard as hiring and firing. Is it a difficult decision? Sure, because there's not total clarity, but you go back to every metric you can find so you make a logical, educated decision on this is how we're going to handle this financial piece of our business. You do this a day in and day out. Families do it with their personal budgets. Are we going to go out to dinner tonight? Well, if we find we've been going out to dinner too often, that means we need to start meal prepping on Sundays, which takes more prep at the beginning of the week for grocery. Like there's all these levels. For some reason, we don't look at people the same way. I'm looking at these ingredients here. And if someone comes to me and is like, hey, I think I need to fire someone, part of me wants to say, pull up your people P&L. Let's look at all the details for clarity. Where's your org chart? Because that'll speak in a little bit. Where are your job roles? What's the issue? You tell me the issue. I feel like we're spending too much on marketing. Great. Now we go dive in to all the numbers, and we that makes more sense to us than when you say this person's not doing their job well enough. They got to go. Well, what is it?
Mm.
Well, they execute the job. They're just horrible to be around. Okay, that's a totally different thing, but we can still go look at org chart, job roles, their scorecard. Is it that the owner doesn't have time to actually lead them? Delegation roadmap. Is it that nobody does the same thing twice? Okay, ideal weekly schedule. Is it that nobody communicates? Let's look at our big five. I almost want to start treating these as no, we can actually get as much, if not more clarity than we can financially if we just have this stuff documented. We can go back and say, okay, well, what does the org chart say about this person's role? What does the role look like? What is their scorecard progress been like? How are they on their ideal weekly schedule? Are they in their meetings? Are we even doing big five, number four, which is check-ins? Probably not. I don't know if I've had anybody fire someone that they do every check-ins every 2 weeks with. Now,
Mm.
I'm not saying that's the reason people are staying, but at that point, it doesn't seem as heavy because you have the proof of it. So I don't know if
Mm.
that's making sense. I'm even looking at these and I'm like, man, to make a hard people decision, we do have the ability to have clarity on it. And at the end of the day, you might just be like, yeah, they're a little bit of a cancer to the culture of our team. Okay, well,
Totally.
then we make the
I had a
decision knowingly.
I had a company that was run by an ex-Navy guy, and he came into the business, bought the business, and there was a big team, 20, 30 people. There was another
Hmm.
guy on the team that was also ex-service, and he was not great for the team. It was hard for the team. And so everyone expected this owner to not let this guy go, right? Because there's this, hey, we're in this
Bond.
together kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when he let that person go, he said, hey, this is just not working. You're not healthy. You're not helpful for us. He said the day after, there was like a sigh of relief and like a fresh infusement of, oh, wow, this owner is willing
Yeah.
he's here to move the business forward. And I'm sure he would have loved to have kept the guy because they have a shared
Yeah.
experience. But there was just a real respect for somebody who says, hey, the business has to thrive first before all these other things. So I thought that was a
Yeah.
pretty cool decision he made. It was
I call
challenging,
that
hard
the
decision to make.
Oh yeah, I call that the Oscar decision. I've called it that before. We had
Mm.
one dog. That dog was as close to perfect as a dog gets. That dog's name is Baloo from the Jungle Book. He's still our dog. We just had to get him some joint medicine. I don't know how much longer he'll be our dog, which is heartbreaking. But we
Oh.
have Baloo, who's great, great demeanor, all this. Right before COVID, we wanted a second dog. So we brought in this little dog, this little white corgi, cute as could be. His name was Oscar. And Oscar was a little demon and totally changed Baloo because Baloo is now scared because this little dog was like just attacking him all the time. And Oscar was fine, but Baloo changed as our dog, totally different
Mm.
dog, which was heartbreaking. And our family got a little bit more stressed out. And then we had some kids. Well, our kids couldn't be around Oscar because he snipped when he didn't get what he wanted. And my
Mm.
son, my oldest son, didn't like dogs. He didn't like Baloo at all, and he wouldn't go close to Oscar. So we lost our dog of who we knew him to be, best dog ever. And our son didn't care for dogs, was scared of all these other dogs, whatever. And then Oscar attacked me one day, and I'm bleeding
Mm.
everywhere because he got my
Oh
hand
my
real
gosh.
bad. And I was like, he's got to go. I love the thing, but he's got to go. So we
Bye.
rehomed him, and I'm not kidding. He left in the morning,
Mm.
probably 8 a.m. one morning. And I'm not kidding. By lunchtime, my dog was back. It had been 4 years. My
Wow.
original dog was back to himself, and my son like could not stop snuggling with my dog. And it was like the only difference was we got rid of Oscar. And I love that dog Oscar a lot, but I call it the Oscar decision of will there be an immediate response? And if so, it's just worth washing your hands of. And it's so hard to
Man,
do,
and
but
I hope if you're a business owner, you hear that right now. I think so many business owners are too hesitant and lack the confidence to move forward in something you know to be true in your like instinct. And you got to make that decision and move forward.
yeah,
I just think if you're going to get stuck in a place, where you're going to be in the same washing machine cycle that you aren't making that right decision next. And that's the Oscar decision. I love that, man. I think you could write a chapter of a book on that.
yeah, it changed the game. I just had a client locally did that. It was someone I walked in when I first met this individual that worked for him. I was like, this has to be a power player. Has to be. And then I found out one weekend that person was gone and he said it changed the game overnight.
Mm.
Overnight. He's like, it was hard. We had to backfill some stuff, but changed the game overnight. And you're like,
Yeah.
sheesh, it's awesome. So
So I just want to notice we've talked about purpose, we've talked about people, and we haven't yet gotten into the process, but I think we've talked a lot about process on the podcast, yet to talk about profit as a filter for making decisions. And yet, most business owners are starting with how much is it going to cost me? Am I going
it's
to
the
get
first
return
filter
on?
for them. It's the first
It is the
filter
very
for them.
first filter. And to me, money is a neutral object. It's not positive, it's not negative. It's a tool, it's a resource. You need money to run a business. You need to make money to stay in business. Like you're not, unless you're running a nonprofit and you're not making profit and reinvesting all your money into the business. Even then, you should have a positive amount of money you're
Right.
reinvesting into the business.
Right.
But I
That's a
think that
good note. Yeah.
too many people just make those decisions based on cash and not on the
Yeah.
holistic look of a business.
Yeah. Man, that's good. Speaking of bad decisions, I have a decision for you to make right here. Tonight is the
I'm
national
ready.
championship between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. Who do you have winning the game?
Man, I think Indiana looks really good. I have a real hard time. I'm a Carolina guy, so Miami being in the ACC, I mean, I don't know, get some cred for our conference that has no cred at all in a football sense.
Other
I'm
than
cheering
Clemson,
for, I'm cheering. Oh, they've gone downhill very much in the last couple of years.
they still have brought some credibility to the ACC with a few national championships.
Oh, yeah, yes, for sure, for sure. I'm pulling for Indiana only because I'm pulling for you. I'm here for Donnie. So
Who?
Hoosiers.
IU, baby. That I've never advertised that I'm a fan, which means I'm not a great fan, and I get that. But it's been fun. The year my dad passed and loved IU. He was in the IU Marching 100, the band. He was like all in it and got to do the Final Fours for the basketball with Bobby Knight. He loved IU, and man, it would be cool to watch him. So yeah, we are all
Oh
IU tonight,
man.
baby.
Dude, is that where you learned to toot your own horn?
No, it's where I learned to shoot a basketball though,
Oh,
and
okay.
make a bank
Okay.
shot. So
Mhm. The
it's good,
bank
good
is
try though.
open.
Did I just mention what instrument he played?
No.
Okay, what's your guess? I'm the son of
Uh,
this man, so if that brings any,
tenor saxophone,
no, I'll tell you this: it was a horned instrument.
trombone, tuba,
Yes, trombone. Nice.
trombone. Great
Yeah,
instrument. I was a
yeah.
trumpet player,
I played
but
the alto saxophone, so
okay,
you were
maybe that's what I was
close.
thinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe you were close, but anyways, well, y'all, if this is you, I'll even offer this. If you're listening to this and you feel like you have the Oscar decision in front of you and you just want to like walk it through with someone who's clearly neutral and partial because we don't know, if you feel like that is on the cusp, feel free to reach out. Brandon at businessonpurpose.com, Shawn at businessonpurpose.com, or both of us at Dickie and Donny at gmail.com. We'd be happy to respond. We would love to just walk through because I think it's also part of the value of being a coach. Very like neutral, very like we don't want it to go one way or the other. We just want to look at the rundown of the data and say, hey, with the clarity we have, does this get closer or further from our mission and vision? So please reach out. We'd love to do that. But thank y'all for watching. As always, if you know the special word that was given in the intro, please comment it below and we will get you something special, very special. So
Yeah, we did follow through on our promise on that one. Good
we had to do
old
multiple
Hunter,
things because people listen. So
Hunter Johnson in Dutton, Virginia.
HJ, Dutton,
Excellent,
Virginia.
excellent general contractor and running an excellent business. One of my favorite clients.
Does that
So
mean it's not true? Like, is Hunter over there laughing because it's just total shambles? Or,
No,
oh,
he's
good for Hunter.
Hunter's got his stuff together.
Just like the Duttons did with that show that went viral, Yellowstone. Wasn't that the Dutton family, John Dutton?
Hmm. I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Me either.
Well, why don't we jump on our next meeting there,
All
Donnie,
right.
and we'll bid everyone else adieu.
Who?
Who just
See
peace.
ya.